Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. These words, written by the American poet Emma Lazarus, are engraved upon the Statue of Liberty, who lights the way for all who arrive on our shore, seeking the great American dream on the other side of that golden door. Our country was built on the ideals of diversity, equity, and inclusivity from the start. These are the true traditional American values, the very fabric that our country was founded on. We must stand together to defend them. A nation thrives when we honor and uplift one another. No matter our race, religion, gender identity, socioeconomic status, nation of origin, or background. American culture is made up of the unique contributions of people who emigrated from every part of the world. People seeking a better life, of religious freedom and economic opportunities, brought with them rich cultural and religious heritage and diverse new perspectives. Unity, therefore, is not about uniformity, but about creating a community where every individual is valued, treated with equity, and included in society and in the democratic process. Just as Emma Lazarus's biblical namesake was restored from death in the New Testament, so too can our country rise up from its deathbed to become great again, if only we nurture our greatest asset, our diversity. But to do this, we must keep fighting for equity and inclusivity. I am Reverend Jennifer Naya Wilbur. I am an ordained minister and priestess. I am a polytheist, which means that I believe in and worship many deities. I am deeply devoted to Inanna, and I worship other deities of the Sumerian pantheon alongside her. I am telling you this because I want to show you that though I have come to a different understanding of the divine than most people in our modern American culture, I am really not that much different from you. I pray to my deities for guidance. I try to live a good life in alignment with my morals. I am human and I make mistakes, just like you. We live in a diverse, multicultural, multi-faith society. That is one of the greatest strengths of this country. Through open dialogue between people with different beliefs and different backgrounds, I believe that we can help this wounded nation to heal and to become stronger than ever before. In the polytheistic worldview, the divine is not confined to a single form or expression. It recognizes the value of and need for different ways of thinking and being. Cultures around the world throughout history have recognized countless deities, each with their own unique attributes, stories, and domains. The gods and goddesses come in many forms. They may be fierce and protective, or gentle and nurturing, or even all of the above. Some deities embody the elements of nature, the fertility of the land or the raging storm. Others guide wisdom, art, or justice. The gods of the Mesopotamian pantheon, whom I worship, are particularly invested in the aspects of human civilization, while still embodying the elements of nature, showing us that human progress and the natural world can coexist. But I will get to that in the next sermon of the series. This diversity amongst the divine is a powerful reflection of nature itself, multifaceted, infinite, and beyond any singular understanding. Just as the divine manifests in a multitude of forms, so too do we, as human beings, reflect the beauty of diversity. In our differences, our varied races, gender identities, religions, backgrounds, abilities, and perspectives, we embody the richness of the world that the gods have created. The gods do not seek to erase our differences, but to celebrate them. We honor the gods and their many forms by honoring each other's differences. In this way, diversity in the human experience is sacred. When we come together, embracing our unique qualities, we are not creating division, but enriching the collective spirit of humanity. The diversity of the divine invites us to reflect that same diversity in our own communities, recognizing that every individual, like every deity, is a necessary part of the whole. To recognize the divine as an interconnected community of different deities, each with their own perspectives, unique personalities, and attributes, is to recognize and value the differences in ourselves. But to simply acknowledge that diversity exists is not enough. If we are to create a truly just society, we need to focus on equity and inclusion as well. There is no denying that we live in a world where inequality often prevails, where some are marginalized while others live in abundance. We must examine how equity, being treated with fairness and justice, should not just be an ideal, but a lived reality in our society. Equity does not just mean treating everyone the same. Equity acknowledges that people are not all in the same position and don't all have the same needs. Equity is about fairness and justice that takes into account individual circumstances and needs. Equity goes deeper than simple equality, the idea that everyone should be treated the same. Equity is not just about giving everyone a fair chance, but ensuring that each person is supported based on their unique needs, vulnerabilities, and challenges. It is about making sure that each person's voice is heard. It's about making sure that everyone has a seat at the table and a meal that meets their unique dietary needs. Equity is an essential concept in polytheism, where the gods each play a role in maintaining cosmic balance and order. Some gods govern justice, others protect the vulnerable, while others bestow blessings of prosperity and peace. The divine does not favor one group over another, but ensures that all are given the opportunity to thrive in accordance with their needs and roles in the world. Just as the gods uphold equity in the cosmic order, we too must work toward equity in our own communities. In a society where some are marginalized or oppressed, it is our duty to ensure that all individuals are treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. True unity arises when every person has the same opportunity to contribute, to thrive, and to be recognized. By striving for equity, we honor the divine balance that sustains the universe. That balance is reflected in the way we treat one another. Equity in our relationships with each other mirrors the divine justice we seek in our spiritual practices. In the New Testament, Jesus teaches of equity. He teaches us to love our neighbors specifically and attentively. In Matthew 25:40, he tells us that when we help the hungry, the thirsty, the stranger, the naked, the sick, and the imprisoned, we are helping him. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." In another story from the Christian New Testament, the story of the Good Samaritan in Luke 10:25 through 37, Jesus challenges us to see beyond societal divides and to treat others with compassion, regardless of their background, identity, or status. The Samaritan, who was traditionally viewed as an outsider and enemy by the Jews, was the one who acted justly and showed mercy. The Samaritan didn't give the wounded man the same as everyone else. He gave what was necessary to meet his needs. He gave with equity. Equity means recognizing the different needs of others and addressing those needs with compassion and care. It means reaching out to those who are in need, particularly those who are vulnerable and underserved. In society, equity demands that we address systemic issues, poverty, racism, and social injustice that create unequal opportunities. It calls us to speak out against discrimination and to work toward creating a society where everyone has access to the resources they need to flourish. We must challenge systems that perpetuate inequality and use our voices to uplift the oppressed. True equity cannot be achieved without the inclusion of everyone who makes up our great society. The gods are not separate. In the myths of nearly every culture, we see how they interact with and include humans, spirits, and each other within their domains. They welcome the outcasts, guide the lost, and offer their wisdom to those who seek it. There is no hierarchy of worthiness in the eyes of the divine. The gods do not discriminate based on status, wealth, disability, or background. Instead, they offer their love and care to all, encouraging inclusion and unity within their realms. There is a Mesopotamian myth where the goddess Ninmah challenges the god Enki to decree fates for her creations that don't necessarily fit into the standard design plan for humans. Enki says that he can counterbalance the fate of anyone with any difference that Ninmah can think up. One man is created with deformed hands. Enki appoints him a prestigious role as a servant to the king. Another man is made blind. Enki grants him enhanced musical abilities, and he becomes a chief musician to the king. A man with paralyzed feet was given a lucrative role as a silversmith, and a woman who could not bear children was given an important role as part of the queen's household. No matter what a person's situation in life, Enki included them in society and gave them a way to contribute. The role of society, primarily, is to take care of its people, all of its people. The gods created us to embrace diversity. To create a civilization in their image requires different perspectives, experiences, and abilities. The gods value us for our differences. Our relationship with the divine calls us to extend that same inclusivity to others. No one should be excluded from the sacred circle. Each person, regardless of their race, gender, sexual identity, ability, social status, or background, holds the potential to connect with the divine. Just as the gods open their arms to all, we too must create spaces where everyone is welcome, where no one is left behind or cast out. Inclusion is not merely about tolerating others, but about actively celebrating their presence in our lives. The divine invites us to see the sacredness in each individual, to recognize the spark of the divine within all people. When we open our hearts and our communities to everyone, we are aligning ourselves with the inclusivity of the divine, bringing us closer to the unity we seek in the world. We must realize that true unity is not about erasing differences, but embracing them. The divine is a tapestry of many deities, each with their own unique domain and essence. And so too are we, a diverse and unique collective. Through equity, we restore balance and fairness, ensuring that everyone has an equal opportunity to thrive. Through inclusion, we honor the divine by welcoming everyone into the sacred circle, understanding that each individual makes important contributions to the greater whole. By striving to live in harmony with these values, diversity, equity, and inclusion, we align ourselves with the divine forces that govern the universe. In doing so, we create communities where all people are valued, where every voice is heard, and where unity is found not in sameness, but in the sacred celebration of our differences, where every being is seen, loved, and welcomed. It is far past time we come together and embrace this rich tapestry of culture that our species has created and learn to love each other. There is so much we can learn from one another if only we open our ears and our hearts to listen. If we want America to become truly great, we must embrace our differences. We must strive for equity for all. We must foster a culture of inclusion. Diversity is one of our country's greatest strengths. Diversity of ideas, beliefs, identities, backgrounds, experiences, all contribute to a greater understanding of the world and give us a greater pool of resources from which to draw when seeking solutions to our nation's problems. We must start from a foundation based on equity and inclusion. Only when everyone has their basic human needs met, only when everyone is afforded the life of dignity and respect that each and every one of us deserves, will we all be able to contribute our best to make our society truly great. Join me again next week for the second part of this sermon series, which will be on diversity, equity, and inclusion in environmental justice.